That's fine. Go.
Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Hello, everyone. It's just me so far right now. Welcome back to Schaefer and Questal. I had a doctor's appointment, so that went much longer than I thought it would. That's why I'm late. My co-host just isn't here right now, so he may come before the end of the day. Who knows? Well, we got the Knicks to talk about. They've been very good at the home 8-1 so far, but 0-4 on the road. Jalen Brunson hurt. That's I'm just gonna say how it is. That's not very good. Let's call it when your best player is out. It's not really the best. Obviously, this team has definitely very good players on it. You got like Karl Anthony Towns, Bridges, stuff like that. So you do have players that can definitely step up when you need them to. But Brunson being out definitely does hurt this team. He should be back though sometime in the next week. Maybe even as quickly as today was when they're facing the Dallas Mavericks, who fired their GM Nico Harris. That was, I think, very deserved. Yeah, very deserved for him to get fired. That whole Luka trade was probably one of the worst trades that someone could have made, because a trade like that is very much, it's worse because of the fact that it wasn't even forced. Luka wanted to stay there. There was no real reason for to ship him off because they just went to the finals the year before, even though that wasn't really the best finals run or team. But yeah, no, you have a very much a guy who wanted to stay there, was no real pressure to trade him. So trading him for a guy who's also injury prone, when one of your main complaints about Luka was the fact that he wasn't very in shape most of the time. That's not very. It's what's a lot of people were saying that Harris was kind of being the fall guy for the ownership, wanting to get out of Dallas, like them trying to trade Luka to get the fan base really mad to kind of get that team out. So they obviously got kind of saved by Cooper Flagg being number one pick. They got, by the grace of either the basketball gods or Adam Silver, however you want to suspect it. Although there's a lot of conspiracy about whether the NBA draft is rigged or not. I don't think it is most of the time, but there is very suspicious things that do happen. Obviously, luck is gonna do that sometimes, but them getting the trade for them trading Doncic and immediately getting the first overall pick, that's pretty suspicious, especially when there's a guy that's very much the definitive number one in a draft. Because sometimes in drafts there's not a definitive number one, but this year definitely was. Flagg was like the guy, and everyone else was below him. Kind of like when Wembanyama had his draft, and he was like the obvious number one, and then everyone else kind of choose whoever you want to go after him. So yeah, the Knicks, honestly, very impressive home record, 8-1. They've been very much steady at the Garden. Only lost against the Magic, who are a pretty solid team. So it wasn't like it was a crazy loss, but they need to start winning on the road. Hopefully they start winning in Dallas tonight. This is a game that they should win, even with their guys out. Dallas has been pretty damn bad. So you should be able to definitely beat the Mavericks, even in Dallas. Hold on. Wait. Especially that loss against the Heat a couple of nights ago, that was a very bad loss. That was mainly because the fact that they were down, then went up by so much, then went down again, then were fighting and clawing near the back end, but just could not at all. They had a lot of chances at the cup to either tie the game or just win it outright. You tie the game and get it overtime, or just win the game outright. And not being able to get anything to fall there, especially that Deuce McBride left-handed layup, and the Karl Anthony Towns fade away at the final seconds, like just not being able to get anything definitely hurts them a lot in that game. Um, uh, I don't really know what to say. The New York Giants. Oh, yeah, no, that was just another classic loss, man. Like, obviously, you don't have your quarterback, so it's gonna be a lot harder to win a game like that. But your Jameis Winston just did what Jameis Winston thing that final drive, um, showing why he's very much a backup, but not a starter. Very much the surprise of what side Jameis you're gonna get. He's very much the Doctor Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of quarterbacks. Very much this guy who can dazzle with his great ability and then just completely befuddle by his very plentiful amount of turnovers that he produces, mainly on interceptions. Because I mean, I'm not that mad about the loss because to be fair, the Giants should be kind of tanking right now. I know you have you have a interim head coach who's definitely fighting for that spot. Kafka's definitely getting an extended look here. He's not just a guy that's kind of there floating just to he's not a seat filler. He's very much trying to get this job. Not probably the top candidate either way, even if they turn this around somehow with Bowen still as defensive coordinator. But he's got an extended look. So I mean, it was a pretty close game for the entire thing. It wasn't like the Giants didn't get blown out. They were doing this thing where they kind of have a close game like they usually have been for the past couple of weeks. They've very much been kind of they've been very close in these games, but they're never just really able to win it. That means obviously it means you're a bad team, but you're never really kind of getting trounced like you think you would. Um, yeah, no, it was very close game. Nothing really to. It was very boring game, kind of in the sense that it was kind of Giants never really seemed like they were gonna win it. They were getting close near the end, but just nothing to really come up and say that you got it. So very much not a Giants loss because they didn't get blown out or anything, but because they didn't blow a lead, like a big lead. But yeah, no, just very mediocre Giants loss. Kind of seeing we're basically in a holding pattern. Dart didn't play because he's injured, so we can't really say whether Dable or Kafka was really responsible for him because obviously we have no idea right now. So it was kind of a boring week in that sense because what are we watching for? Like what's called your second year receiver's injured, your very exciting rookie running back's injured, and your very excited rookie quarterback's injured. And Abdul Carter was benched for the first drive. Very strange. Like your young, exciting guys that you're trying to look for were just not really anywhere to be found. So it's kind of this team's not making the playoffs. I could say that before they even lost this game, but they're not doing anything in the the NFC East, just in the NFC in general. So it's kind of a boring game to watch because there's nothing really interesting to see. The only slightly interesting thing was seeing Kafka be the head coach now instead of Dable, but that's not the most interesting thing you can do. Like you're much more watching for the players, not the coach, especially since I think most people don't really want Kafka, even though he has been getting looks as a coordinator going to a head coach for a while. But I think the Giants need a guy with actual experience on the job instead of someone who is a coordinator graduating for the first time. Like I've done that too much where they need to finally get a guy that was a head coach and can bring that experience to him. So their best hope is that somehow the Steelers don't make the playoffs and they get rid of Tomlin because of it. But I don't think he will. So they'll have to kind of rummage around. Who knows? Maybe someone collapses and they shake loose too. Who knows? The Giants' head coach search is going to be very interesting. Now, a word from our sponsor.
This is WIUR Radio.
Hi, I'm Morgan Beastie from the Ionian, and I hope you're enjoying today's show. Are you looking for the latest scoop on campus news, sports, and more? Check out the Ionian, Ionian University's very own award winning student newspaper. We keep you up to date with everything happening on and off campus. Want to know about the big game, the latest campus event? It's all in the Ionian. Join the conversation, read, write, and get involved. Visit www.theionian.org or pick up a copy around campus. Stay informed, stay connected. Now, back to WIUR, Iona University Radio.
All right, so let's go on to the Jets losing 27-14 to the Patriots. That was no shock at all. The Patriots have been dominant this year, so they're seemingly back. Like it only took them getting rid of Belichick and then his next up. So then they're back with Vrabel, and then they're Drake May, their new quarterback, after they got rid of I forgot rid of their old one. So kind of it only took them one kind of cycle of quarterback to new quarterback to get their guy again. And the Jets have not had that. They finally benched Justin Fields after what seems like an eternity, who he didn't even combine to get 200 yards Thursday. The only 116 passing yards. I he may he may go to a different team next year, which will be his fourth team in 4 years. So it'll be there is talent there. He does have a sense of actual talent, but it feels like the Jets don't bring out any talent in anyone. Like that's just the Jets as a team never get the best out of any of their players unless they're defensive players. Like um they cannot develop a quarterback to save their lives at all. If the world depended on it, if aliens were about to attack Earth and their demand was we need the Jets to develop a quarterback, the world would be ended. the Jet, I feel like there needs to be big change. Like you need to probably like Woody Johnson probably has to go as an owner because there's just like a stink around the franchise that just I don't think will dissipate until he's gone. Even though he has he hasn't meddled the most as a coach. He has meddled, sorry, an owner. Like Jerry Jones has been the dark horse. He's been like the death grip for the Cowboys. There is no reason that that team should have been out of the not get to a championship game in the past 30 years. But it has been because Jerry Jones is just a bad GM and he thinks himself as a savant, and he never will get a good head coach because he does not want to share the spotlight with anyone. So it's very much his own ego that's kind of keeping the Cowboys from doing anything. But I think it's not the same as the Jets, but it's very much a cursed franchise, kind of like a Clipper situation where even after they got rid of their old owner, but after they got rid of the bad man upstairs, they're still Steve Ballmer still has not gotten that team to a finals even. Although they have gotten to an actual Western Conference finals, so that's something you can say about him. But and to be fair, the whole Kawhi scandal with the fake um, charity, that's he's kind of bringing his own mess onto that team. But um, the Jets, yeah, no, them benching Justin Fields makes total sense. He has just not been. I mean, it's not like you're going to a good quarterback. It's not like it's not like you're upgrading much. Like Tyrod Taylor is a journeyman backup for a reason. Like he's a fine quarterback if you have to put him in for a couple of games, but he's nowhere near a starting level quarterback. So we're kind of just we're swapping deck chairs on the Titanic. Like we're very much this is a sinking ship and it might have already be in the ocean fully, but we're playing around with a lot of nothing on the Jets right now. So we're kind of just seeing how it looks before the ship fully goes into the sea. Um, Glenn, he's gonna stay on as head coach, but he's gonna have a very hot seat next year. Aaron Glenn, he, I there's a thing where I don't think he's doing that terrible of a job. Obviously, doesn't really have that many pieces around like that quarterback situation. No one's gonna benefit from that. But obviously, I think Fields should be doing a little bit better than he has been. What's it called? He did win a lot with the Steelers last year, so it's not like he has no talent, but is kind of your Glenn has been kind of battling an upfield, has been having a big battle here, and he's gonna stay on because I feel like the only way he was gonna get fired was if he went 0-17, which that was just not gonna happen. I don't you have to be a especially terrible team to go 0-17 and have a lot of luck. There's been a lot of terrible teams that have somehow lucked out a win or two just because of the fact that it's any given Sunday. You're gonna eventually somehow luck into a win. That's why going 0-16 like the Lions and the Browns did was just especially terrible. And the Browns didn't even fire their head coach when they went 0-16. They kept him on for another half season. So yeah, no, Glenn's gonna stay on, but does he get next year if it's a bad year? Obviously, I think they go 2 terrible seasons, he may be gone, but I'm curious how much because they gave him a big contract. So I'm curious how much they'll actually give him lead. I think he's going to be here till at least year 3. I think no matter even what they do next year, I think it's just going to speed up. Like if he does terrible again next year, like his very similar record, like maybe 3-14, 4-13, I think that's just going to speed up when he's going to get fired in his 3rd year. If it doesn't immediately turn out like it's maybe 6 games in instead of if they have a solid year next year, like let's say 8-8, that could be like he maybe gets the entire 3rd year. I think he's going to stay at least until year 3. I don't see again unless there's some catastrophe with him because he hasn't been that terrible of a head coach, but like because obviously this team's not very good to begin with. Like there's not much talent. There's defensive talent, but not much offensive talent. Well, sorry, not much quarterback offensive talent. Like you have a great running back and a solid receiver, but nothing really much outside of that. So when you have a bad quarterback, the offense is not really going anywhere. So that's kind of the sacred curse of. That's why it's like the most important position in the ultimate team sport, as everyone calls it. Like football is the ultimate team sport, but it's so concentrated around a single guy that's just kind of funny. That's almost like this duality of football. So, I think we're running out of time. Again, I'm sorry for the short episode today. I did not think it would go so far, so I got kind of stuck a little bit. So I'm sorry. Let's hope Hunter is fine. He slept a little over today. So we should be back in 2 weeks because I'm pretty sure the studio is closed for next Wednesday because we have Thanksgiving. So have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Hope you're all doing great. And I think I'm gonna head out. So see y'all in 2 weeks.
Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.